Good to talk to you.
Always nice to talk to you, Jenny.
Looks like you're heading back to New York for more debate about the United Nations Arms Trade Treaty.
Well, Jenny, I hope it is a debate. The UN is not noted for debate. The UN is usually noted for saying how things are and then ignoring you. But that's another
Yeah,
story.
and I guess that's a better way of putting it. You're right. But next week, the NGOs, the non-governmental organizations, are going to be making statements to the UN General Assembly First Committee about
That's
the
correct.
treaty. What's the significance of all of this?
Well, it is just one more step in a long process. Every year there's certain events that occur, and the first committee of the General Assembly, and that's the committee that handles disarmament affairs. Every year the first committee discusses the small arms issue and the ATT issue, and they allow NGOs to come in and make statements, and that's what we'll be doing on Monday. And there'll be a lot of side discussions about the arms trade treaty, and just get a way to get back into the game. This will be kind of a precursor also for the arms trade treaty procedural PrepCom, technical term.
Man, I love that UN talk.
Yeah,
I got to tell you.
which will occur in February. The NRA will be there, and then there will be the 4-week conference in July of next year. So there'll be a lot of discussion about what's going to go on there. And it's just a way to kind of, get the lay of the land, as it were.
So you make these presentations, but I've got to ask you: does the UN really consider what you're saying when they're, deciding what they're going to leave in and leave out of the treaty?
Well, they do and they don't. Wayne LaPierre's speech last July got a lot of people's attention,
no question.
And there'll be a little bit of follow up to that. And we'll be. I know that one group will be calling attention to the fact that a lot of senators have already rejected the ATT. So that will be brought to, and that will be also discussed on the side with meetings with UN officials.
Your group's message?
Well, our group's message is to there's a whole series of messages, but the main message is to, on the ATT, keep civilian arms out of it, and on the general UN small arms and light weapons effort called the Program of Action, that in that, start to acknowledge the legitimacy of firearms rights. That's our message.
Yeah, and I know you guys have been pushing that. I know the NRA's been pushing it. And I remember when John Bolton, we were talking to him, they still don't even know how to define small arms and light weapons.
That's exactly right. In fact, one of the major problems, it's a major problem with the ATT, but I think there might be some technical solutions to that, but we can't go into that today.
But another headline recently is that the U.S. representative to the UN, Laura Kennedy, gave a speech recently at the UN saying that the Obama administration supports including small arms in the UN's Registry of Conventional Arms. Now, that's not good news for anybody who's out there who owns a firearm.
That's not good news at all. Now, a little technical background. There are 6 UN efforts on small arms going on parallel. The Conventional Arms Registry has always been one that we've been aware of, but it's kind of been under the radar, and we knew that this was coming. The Conventional Arms Registry has been in existence for a long time, and it's generally for states to acknowledge, when they have major weapon systems. They have to include small arms and light weapons in that Conventional Arms Registry has incredible potential for mischief. It is kind of starting. It's I guess you could say it's almost a registration scheme starting at the top.
And it's international.
It is international, so of course that would affect international commerce in small arms and light weapons. And one of the first things we would like to do is exempt civilian firearms from any registry effort. This was a significant move, and we didn't really see it coming.
From the Obama administration.
From the Obama administration. Laura Kennedy is the Obama administration's permanent representative to the Conference on Disarmament, which is a UN organization in Geneva. That's where it's usually based. But every year during the first committee debate on disarmament issues, all these ambassadors come in from Geneva and make these statements on the behalf of their country. That's what Laura Kennedy did.
Yeah, but she didn't get much headline for it, and I'm sure they want it that way because you look at this with the Obama administration, it's another signal that they support this.
That, and there was also mention of the Organization of American States Firearms Protocol and how they might seek Senate ratification of that.
Yeah, and that's about, as you said, the OSA treaty been gathering dust, sitting on the shelf for what, 11 years, has
I think
never been ratified by the Senate. So why now by the Obama administration?
that's a very good very good question, and we just don't know. The Obama administration is maybe changing its tact on this, maybe getting more active. We just don't know. The people that come in from Geneva are not the usual participants in these issues, but we don't know what's going on in the bowels of the State Department.
But as you said, more than half the members of the Senate have already said to Obama, hands off when it comes to touching our Second Amendment rights. That's not going to be able to be included in any treaty. Forget about it. Is this a test run for Obama by pushing this treaty?
Jenny, I just don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know whether or not it's deliberate or it's accidental. And you've been around government long enough to know that sometimes it's a very thin line between the two.
Yeah, but it's an indication that Obama is, as you know, we knew from the start that he gave all sorts of, indication he wants the negotiations to go forward. But this is about what's in it. He's saying, "Hey, I support that too."
Absolutely. I was either Freud or Groucho Marx said, even paranoids have reasons to be afraid.
But I got to ask you because, we're talking about registries right now, and right now in Canada, as you know, long gun registry finally going to become a thing of the past once they get that bill introduced up there. We were just talking to Tony about that. But I've got to believe that the UN is not happy about what they're seeing going on in Canada with this registry right now.
Not at all, and there's been quite a bit of discussion up there. I think I sent you a copy of a radio interview
Yep.
that occurred up there, and they're very disturbed by that. But the Canadian position is a good, strong position, and I'm hoping the Canadian position vis-a-vis civilian firearms being excluded from the ATT, and I'm hoping other countries will expand upon that and adopt that position.
And I got to ask you, if Canada, decides to stick to that position, about sporting and hunting and recreation rifles being exempt from the treaty, will that bog down the debate, about what isn't included than what is included? Will you see other countries jump in and say, hey, we want to do this?
I believe they will, and there are also several countries that don't want small arms per se included in the arms trade treaty.
Are you talking about Japan and Italy?
Correct,
Mm-hmm.
and Japan and Italy don't want sporting arms included.
Right.
There are some other major countries, which will go unnamed, who just don't want small arms included themselves. So there's a lot of politics to this treaty, and there's an immense amount of that needs to be done with the treaty. I'd be very frank, this is going to be an incredible year with the treaty. February, as I said, they'll have a meet for a week in February, and then 4 weeks in July. We'll be there the whole time monitoring it and making sure our voices are heard.
Yep, and I remember at the last meeting in July, all that was going on, and a lot of people were walking around shaking their heads saying, we don't know about that 2012 date.
Well, that's correct, and I thought that there might be a chance that date would be changed here during the first committee. They could change it by resolution, the first committee, but I don't think that's going to happen. They are proceeding ahead so far, so we will see.
Yeah, but we got to be so sure that we're there hearing every step of the way what's going on, because they have all these backroom meetings. They started this new website. They talk about being transparent. We know what that means for the UN.
Well, interestingly enough, that website, of course, is on the conventional arms.
Right.
And I see that as a hint that they're going to move on this conventional arms registry. And I've always thought that this was a threat. Again, it's been under the radar. It's been brewing for as long as I can remember. The original, they had several experts groups on the conventional arms registry. One of them was the consultant was a very interesting lady from South Africa by the name of Sarah Meek, who was tragically killed in an auto accident here about 5 years ago. But the arms registry has always been a potential for mischief. And so I was actually very disturbed to see that raise, I won't say its ugly head, but raise its head. Theoretically, there will be a group of experts that meets in the summer of 2012 to discuss this arms register. So you not only have a double-barrel threat in 2012, I guess you've got a triple-barrel threat. The arms registry, the ATT, and the program of action, which itself is going to have a 2-week meeting in September and August.
And I think the big problem for groups like yours and the NRA is you have no idea where this data is going to end up if they start getting their hands on it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
All righty, Tom, keep us posted on what happens next week, and we'll touch base with you.
Thanks a lot, Jenny.
All righty.
You have a good weekend.